Got into a bit of a spree of buying old junk on eBay again, trying to get away and wean myself off all this stuff, but I quite enjoy repairing these old bits of gear that I find. And this is the latest thing I found, very cheap. It's an old Pioneer SX-102, bit of a state, a bit of a dented up old top cover. Very cheap though, and packing, postage and packing was very cheap as well. Now, not sure what condition it's going to be in working wise. It's got a big dent here where something's been dropped onto the top of the unit, and it's actually come to rest on the heatsink that prevented it dropping any further, so that could have resulted in trauma to the circuit board and possibly even a cracked circuit board. But it's a stereo receiver. The front panel's in fairly nice nick. It needs a bit of a clean up, not that bad condition. A couple of scrapes on the top here. So it's a stereo receiver, with phono amplifier, 2 tape inputs, which is quite nice. I don't know what it's going to be like. I think we'll have to have a look inside first, see if it's worth doing anything with, and I think that'll be our first call really. On the back here, pretty standard for sort of budget entry level sort of receiver, I suppose. 75 ohm balance input there, 300 ohms balanced input for the FM aerial and an AM port as well. Phono input, CD and VCR and LD. What LD is? What's LD? Laser disc. Yeah, laser disc, isn't it? So CD, VCR will be the same input levels, and the phono, obviously a phono RI, AA equalization and things like that. 2 tape monitor ports. That's it really. So I suppose the thing to do is whip the top off it and see what we've got inside, see what state it's in. Now it could be, you know, total scrap. If it's badly damaged, it could be a broken board that's not recoverable. But screws are fairly loose, so it feels like it's been apart. And the money I paid for it, I really don't care if it works or not. It doesn't. It's all to make a video for you lot, really. I've had a lot of complaints about my handheld holding of the video when I'm recording. Now the problem with hand holding is obviously, yes, it is shaky, and some people suffer from motion sickness. It's never affected me, and I know it doesn't affect a lot of people. But a lot of people find it quite distressing when the camera's swinging around. The problem with mounting the camera how it is now is that you can't really see close-up of what's going on inside. Now I'm going to try it today to see if people prefer just the camera being stuck on the side of the where it's actually stuck on the side of the HP audio analyzer, but we'll see how we get on, and I'll be interested to hear your reviews. If you find it really objectionable to me hand holding, say if you rather me hand hold and get a closer up image of what's going on, please let me know. I'll try and keep the camera as steady as possible, but sometimes when you're handling a scope, it's not that easy to do. Okay, so let's get all the screws out first. This front top cover is well and truly bashed up actually, so that we could straighten that out. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. There's a crooked old bit of piece of metal there, you see how dented it is, but we can straighten that out fairly easily. And here we go inside. So we've got the traditional Class AB amplifier design. Got nice big pokey transistors, and I quite like the layout of it actually. It's obviously it's fairly budget, but it's got quite nice beefy transistors as well. And it's got a couple of Elner 5800 microfarad caps in circuit here. That's good quality stuff. Transformer you see in power supply section. Bridge rectifier down here. Let me just try and zoom you in a bit. So it's got the transformer power supply section here, protection relay. Looks like parts of the sort of stereo decoder, multiplexing. Front end here for the FM. There's the AM section there. Oscillator and all the electronics on the front panel here. So initially looks actually undamaged, and the thing is, if it has had an impact on this heatsink here, it would have just been transferred straight to the base plate, so possibly okay. So I think we can almost chance... is that leg falling off the... No, that must be off something else I was working on. So I think we can almost chance powering it up to see what it does. Now it's got protection relay in it, so if there is a problem, it's probably just going to hold itself into protection mode, so I'm not too worried about damaging speakers and things. I can power it up on the dim bulb. I'm sort of hoping that it doesn't work, because otherwise it's going to be a bit of a dull video. See, there's a few scratches and things on the top that I can clean off. They're just by way of equipment's been dragged across the top of it. And someone's obviously decided they're going to paint the plug as well. But that's not at the end of the world. I can always cut the plug off if I can't get the paint off it and clean it up. It's got a 13 amp fuse in it, which is always a bit alarming, but we'll start it on the dim bulbs. Let me just click the speakers up. And we can give it a run. I only buy this stuff if it's really cheap. I don't tend to buy this sort of black jack crap anymore. I tend to try and buy slightly better quality stuff, like the Marantz PM350, which is probably one of the last of the decent budget amplifiers from Japan, really. There are other ones about, but stuff like this doesn't do a lot for me, really. It's not worth a lot of money. It's not very pleasing to look at. Oh, I hate these speaker connections, they're awful things. So let's just try and get these speaker wires to connect. Oh, it's gone in this time, it's better. Well, they're better than the Technics ones. They're those twist lock ones that the Technics use, which basically means you can only use bell wire. So even on their most powerful amplifiers, you have to sort of settle with a bit of bell wire to connect the speaker up. I'm just going to connect an audio lead up. I hope I don't knock the camera, because the audio lead's hanging around the camera. Okay. So we'll plug that in, so if we do get any signs of life, I can actually feed some audio through it. And I'm hoping that obviously the FM section works as well. So let's plug that into the dim bulb, and then we'll just give it a few minutes to sort itself out. So it's plugged into the dim bulb via the isolation transformer and power it up. And it's dead as a can of spam. Okay, right, so first thing we need to do is, why is it not working? No, so I'm not running into the dim bulb. Nope, still nothing, still no power. So, okay, the first problem is we've got no supply to the unit. Just checking obvious things here. We've got a fuse in the power supply section. Let's just check that. Make sure that's not blown. Okay. Power supply fuse looks alright. So it's our incoming supplies down here. Try and zoom in a bit so you can see a little bit easier what I'm doing. Okay, so we're just going to quick check the power supplies. Okay, could be the fuses blown in the plug, but I wouldn't have thought so. It's a 13 amp. Why people put 13 amp fuses and things like this, I really don't understand. It only needs a 3 amp fuse. 2 amp would be fine. So let's just check our incoming supplies, see if that's there. And if it's not, we'll investigate that. So I'm going across the input of the transformer. No, got no supply coming in. So I am going to check the fuse in the plug. I'm assuming my bench supply is actually on. It must be on, yes. Okay. So let's check the fuse. No. The fuse is okay, but what I'm going to do whilst it's out is change it for the correct rating fuse. If something, as I say, an amplifier like this, 2 amp, 3 amps is fine. Oh, I found a 2 amp fuse, so I'm going to pop a 2 amp in there. So why have I got no incoming supply? That's the next question. Sometimes what can happen is the tangs in the actual plug itself can become spread and they don't actually make the contact with the fuse, but I don't think that's the problem with this. Of course there's always a chance my dim bulb is blown, but I don't think it has. Okay, plug it back in again. Let's check our main supply again. Okay, I've got incoming now, so still nothing coming up through on the amplifier. So I'm just checking to see. Got a couple of switch connections down here on the base. I just need to make sure that that switch is actually working. So let's unplug it and just buzz the switch out. Switch is working. So the next thing to do is, I suppose, check our DC link, see if there's any DC supply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at down here we've got the rectifier, it's down here, behind that capacitor. Check to see if we've got anything coming in on that. Now I'm still running through the dim bulb to give us a bit of protection against short circuits and things like that. So where are we? It looks like the two outer connections of the DC supply. I expect that to be probably on all the time. Nothing there. Okay, nothing. So next question is, we've got AC supply coming in. Have we got anything coming out of the transformer? Could it be simply a transformer's been overheated and fried? I'm actually looking at the transformer, maybe it's my imagination, but it does look like it's got bloody hot. Can't be sure of that. So I'll just check out incoming again, make sure it's still there. $238 volts, so that's good. Right, so the next thing to do is probably take the bottom of the unit and have a look to see if we can see what's going on underneath. Okay, well the transformer's on. I can hear it humming. If I put a screwdriver to it and put it to my ear, I can hear the primary of the transformer's activated. So the primary's not open circuit. Looking on the secondary at the input to the bridge, and there's nothing. It's the open circuit. So the thing is, yeah, definitely remove the bottom off and just check for crack joints and connections. Well, you know, I said I thought I could hear the transformer buzzing. Don't think I could. This is a continuity of the primary of the transformer, open circuit. So this transformer's open, which basically writes the whole thing off. But I'd be interested to see if we could actually bodge it up and get it going, just out of interest, see if we can get anything out of it. There's two other taps on this transformer. I was hoping one was for 220 volts, but they've got a dead short across these two pins here. But these two here, where are we? Somewhere I've got, there's another tapping here, and I'm getting about 15 ohms, 16 ohms. So what I was going to do is power it up with a dim bulb. So I've got 17 ohms there as well. It looks like this one connection here is open circuit. So it's obviously, you might have a thermal fuse or something like that. So let's have a look, see if I can work out how to wire this up as a maybe 110 volts or something like that, and see if we can get any sort of output out of it. Right, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the incoming live supply here, and that goes into the transformer. This is the neutral connection. So I was looking at these connections, and I've got these continuity between these pins and this pin. And if you look here, this thing, this link here, and there's another one that goes back to here, looks like, here it is, that may be, possibly, if I'm lucky, a thermal fuse. Now, if that is the case, I might be able to link this out and just put a low rating fuse in series. There's no reason why the transformer should actually fry itself unless it's got a shorted turn. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and link this thermal fuse out, if that's what it is. It certainly looks like it, and then we'll power it up and see if it works on the dim bulb. Okay, what I've done is I've gone across the two outer tappings of the transformer, and I've got about 17 ohms there. Now, I don't recommend anyone doing this. This is not the approved method of fixing a transformer. This transformer has failed because it's got too hot. What I'm going to do though is going to run it through the dim bulb, see what the problem is. It might still be shorted, it might blow the fuse. Well, it won't blow the fuse, it will just make the dim bulb come on brightly. I certainly won't be selling this amplifier in this condition. This transformer's got a fault with it, or it's seen a fault with a short on the power supply or something like that. So yeah, basically I've removed the thermal protection for the transformer. Now there are other ways you can reinstate it again, I suppose, but it's probably not really worth it. You could actually fit a thermal fuse into the core. You can actually slide them down there and re-solder them back in. But it's possible that this amplifier's been run with over covered up and the transformer just got too hot, or someone's used it as a party and has been driving speakers hard and the power supply is just not up to it and overheated and shut the thing down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out so you can see what's going on, and then I'm going to power it up with the dim bulb. And the good thing about the dim bulb is we've got a soft link in the chain, so I'm not too worried about short circuits and things. So you see the lights come on. Indeed, I've got some indication on the front panel. As you can see there, we've got a display on. So that's good. I'll be just checking my power supply levels because I'm not sure what tapping I'm running. But we need to make sure that we're not pushing the power supply too hard. So these are 50 volt capacitors, so we don't want to see much more than 100 volts line to line across the rectifier. I've got 70 at the moment with the dim bulb on, so we're fine at the moment. Let's try it on the speakers. And we've got audio. So it's, yeah, definitely a thermal fuse inside has tripped. So let's see if we can tune anything in. Maybe the easiest thing to do is connect some audio up with the I'll connect some audio up with my phone and we'll try it from there. Well, it clearly works. So all I need to do now is really just monitor it for a while, see how hot the transformer gets, and possibly fit an inline thermal fuse with the transformer to get the protection back for temperature, temperature problems, overloading of the transformer. But it's working fine on the audio input. I'll try it on the tuner in a minute. I'm just going to run it for an hour or so, and then I'll investigate it a bit further. Well, it's been on for about an hour now. The transformer's stone cold, so I don't know why that thermal fuse failed. It could be a faulty thermal fuse, I suppose. It's not unheard of. The strange thing is, tuned to 93.5 FM, and there's nothing coming through on the radio. Now I'm connected to my external aerial, and nothing. But if I touch the aerial socket,
leaky windows, damp walls, and wet.
It really works. So got a problem with the FM connection to the aerial, the VHF aerial. So that'll be the next thing to do, is investigate that. Now that could be actually a problem with one of my I think I found out what that is. I just realised when I was looking around on the bench, I found a sort of inner of an aerial socket. That's my mating part is hollow. That would do it. So that's what happens when you buy parts from China. They're crap. So that's why the FM doesn't work. So what it's turned out to be is actually basically quite an easy repair. The transformer primary is open. The rest of it looks pretty good to me. It needs a bit of a clean up. I think I'll probably just break this down and use it for spares because of this protection problem on the front end. But quite honestly, if I put a small fuse in the series with the primary of the transformer, it would probably be fine. So let's get the tuner up and running properly and see what it performs like. Right, the tuner works. It was off frequency. All it was the adjustment of the transformer in there that adjusts the VCO, and now it tunes perfectly. Now the radio works actually very well. Yes, I know I'm handheld, but I'm being as steady as I can. Sound quality is actually very good, actually. The build quality of the receiver is pretty crap, but it's in pretty good nick, considering I paid next to nothing for it. And you can see here that it's come out quite well. There's a few sort of dents and creases in the top panel that we can't really totally get rid of, but the receiver side of it, well, the tuner's side of it's working perfectly. The front end works fine. All the switches are nice and clean. So really a successful repair. What I will try and do is put a thermal fuse in here to give the transformer some protection for over temperature, and I've fitted a 2 amp fuse in the plug, but I'm a bit skeptical about selling this thing on because of this problem with the transformer. It's obviously got hot at some point. But I'm going to leave it on and see how the transformer copes. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just been overloaded, or someone's covered the top up and the transformer just got too hot and shut itself down. Anyway, thanks for watching, and more to come.